3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome again to the New Old Podcast.
I just forget that that's what it's called.
17th? The 17th one.
Is it really?
17th.
Fine.
And
You'll join the army next episode.
No sponsors yet. Someday. But that's okay. We don't need sponsors.
Why would you sponsor this?
You could reach out to truckers.
I bet there's a handful of people that would love to sponsor us.
The right kind of people. Brought to you by Taco Bell and the Lion's Den.
No. That would be cool. They sell cool stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Various pleasure devices you can smoke weed out of. Let's go.
And that's the perfect sponsor for us.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with Packers Minute because we have a very special guest. And let me just...
It's Aaron Rodgers' talent. No one's seen it for years.
Yeah, he's sitting next to Chris right now.
It's been missing for at least 18 months. Where has it gone?
I feel bad for him.
I don't feel bad for that.
I can't help it. I mean, I don't know. It's got to be hard to feel yourself losing it after 4 decades.
He's definitely, like, I've been telling people, just like when I go to the games, and I've been fortunate to be at enough of them, I just watch the cold games. I watch how he walks off. I watch where he goes and sits. And just generally, he looks old and cold, and he has looked old and cold for like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
The perfect example is like their record as a team is pretty good, but they didn't really need him last week at all for the Vikings.
No.
And then, of course, they needed him this week. And again, he still doesn't show up. Needed him for the 49er game, decided to play hero ball just like he did, again, this past time.
Yep.
Buccaneers game, same thing. Didn't really show up for that game either.
Yep.
Another cold game. And then you look at that, I think it was the first quarter. They were in the red zone. And he could have very easily, looked like he could have scrambled and got in the end zone. Instead, he throws a fucking fastball
I thought for sure
3
he would
yards
just
away.
run it in.
But I don't think he trusts his legs anymore.
No. And I even, and again, I say this, with some empathy. But because, God knows the world does not need another group of people going what I think about sports is blah, blah, blah. But I do think, my thing that I've noticed that I think is notable is, he's missing looks. There's an open
Very
guy
frequently.
right there.
He's predetermining his decisions.
And it doesn't even feel like, I don't trust that guy. It feels like he didn't see that.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's a tough one.
It doesn't feel like he can, because we heard the mystique for years. He can fool any defense, or he knows what any defense is doing. He just doesn't seem like he has that at all.
The
anymore.
reason I think part of it is the defense knows what's coming.
Yeah.
Well, right, they are a very predictable team.
They haven't really adjusted. Their creativity is gone.
There's so much tape on Rodgers now that it's not.
And their coach
not chock full
doesn't
of
exactly
surprises.
put him in good position. I mean, any time you're thinking it's a good idea to have a handoff to your slowest receiver on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, perhaps we're not putting our best players in position to be successful either.
Right.
Top to bottom, I tried to summarize this Packers, just this game. Slightly above mediocre team beats definitely mediocre team, both with mediocre quarterbacks, because that's what they both are. That's what both teams are. And one of them is better coached.
Yep. And one of them, I think, just plays with more passion and gusto.
Energy.
I was saying last week, some people were saying that if the Lions are knocked out before the game, it'll be easier for the Packers. And I had been saying for weeks, it's not going to be. This Detroit team is not ever.
They don't quit.
I mean, you didn't see the broadcast, but they interviewed Dan Campbell in between quarters, and he said, we're here to knock them out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it with a vibe.
If we're not going, they're not going.
That's what he said. Yeah. It was gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, their team is a reflection of their coach.
Little did MCDC know that's why Quay Walker was there too.
Yeah. Oh boy.
What do you think? Do you
I
just
think-
lose him?
No.
Is he too good to just?
No, I think he's a very young player who's super talented. Who I think there's two things. One, he has to have better awareness in general. Like if somebody's grabbing you, you can't immediately go into defense mode.
Right.
So that could be like an anger management type of just coaching thing.
We learned that from Rasul Douglas too. Even if someone is just aggressively shoving you, you can't shove them back.
Right. Well, and that comes back to a player-led team, where the first things that go with a player-led team is things like undisciplined plays like this, because they don't have the fear that their coach is going to chew their ass out for it. They don't have that worry that they're going to let their teammates down because they feel like they run the roost. So then you get these undisciplined plays, which have happened all fucking year, year, more than it's ever happened under LaFleur. And I think it's definitely, again, another reflection of poor coaching, letting these guys be a little bit too player-led, letting your quarterback dictate too much. So you can't be a best friend. Like when you're a coach, you can't be a best friend. Like you have to be a coach. You have to be an authority figure. You don't have to slam, you don't have to beat guys up or slam shit into a desk.
Right.
But you have to let them know that you're the fucking one in charge, and shit isn't acceptable. The very first ejection he had against the Bills game probably should have been it. But obviously he probably was just like, wait, I get it, whatever. Like you can't. You have to say that's fucking not acceptable. And bench him. Like,
And
if
also-
you're not going to bench him.
Yeah. And also, like, just to throw this in there, is it possible for LaFleur to be that kind of coach while Rodgers is on the team?
No, it's
In
not.
his defense, like, you can't really be that guy when Rodgers is doing a weekly segment where he makes fun of your eyebrows.
Or,
You know what I mean? Like,
or takes digs at the type of offense we're running.
yeah, it doesn't really
do
work
it.
that way.
You can't do it.
Which is why, we talked about this before we started. Like, I think, and frankly, I hope LaFleur gets at least another year. I would like to see him get at least a full year with a different quarterback.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I don't really think we have seen him coach
No.
the way he would coach
We haven't.
if he didn't have a player who thought he was the coach. Like Rodgers even said some stuff this year in the press about like taking more of like a kind of coaching leadership role. It's like, no.
That's not your job,
no.
man.
No.
Like,
That's not what you're getting paid for.
You want to be GM.
Don't do that.
You want to be head coach.
Right.
But you don't want to run the offense.
Right.
And I think that's an excellent transition to call our Packers
Yes.
Packers person.
And also, we should ask what he thinks of the possibility. There's heavy rumbles that Hackett's on his way home.
Well, let's
I'd
give
be
the
down.
old
Everyone is opposed to it. I'm fine with it. I think he showed like he's not quite ready to be a head coach.
right.
But I think he was great here, and if he wants to come back here,
Well, look at,
Right on, man.
obviously there was other personnel that left, but look at the offense
Well,
he was
they
able
were-
to put
They
together.
had fucking Russell Wilson taking dumps all over the field all year. Like, how good's he supposed to be?
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying because, how much more can they do the same exact thing with the same exact set of people
Yeah.
and continue to expect different outcomes?
You can't.
And that's how they're operating, and it just doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me. Here we go.
But hopefully Barry gets better this year. I guess
It's
that's all we
miraculous.
can
Can't
hope
get
for,
worse.
Yeah.
He's failed everywhere he's gone, but this is the year. Anyway, well, let's call our Packers correspondent,
Hova.
and I will make the introduction to him. And while we're waiting, we will let's see if we can get here, and let's see if we can get
Hello.
Dad.
Hey.
How
Yeah,
are you, sir?
I'm good.
That's good. That's good. Well, you're on the podcast. We were in our Packers segment. We've got Christopher.
Okay.
And we've got Adam the Ginger Stick, that is his nickname. We can explain that later if we need to.
I'll draw you a picture.
Well, Chris will draw you a picture of that.
We got a big enough sheet of paper there.
But oh my goodness, wow! My dad. This is my dad. Come on. Well, I should say he's my dad, but as many of my friends have become aware and know him as, is the original
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
The original Jay-Z, yeah.
He's the original Jay-Z. So we were just talking about the Packers, and one of the themes that we had talked about was this environment that the Packers and LaFleur have allowed to have this environment be a player-friendly environment, which has led to a number of issues. And when I talked to you today, it sounded like you had some very important thoughts on this. So we thought you'd ask, what are your thoughts on Matt LaFleur, the way that he coaches his team after that debacle on Sunday?
Well, I think clearly he was out-coached. And I think Dan Campbell does it the right way. I think he has a great relationship with his players, but the players definitely know who's boss. And I think that LaFleur is not that type of a coach. I think he wants to be friends with everybody. And I was talking to you this morning about I listened to Tauscher and Wilde on WKTI in Milwaukee, and Tauscher basically said the same thing. I mean, and I thought this all along, that he's too friendly with Rodgers, and I think Rodgers has way too much influence. I think the player coach, the difference between being friends and the player coach relationship is that I think Rodgers thought he was a co-coach. And it was quite obvious in Sunday's game. And throughout the season, I've noticed on TV that, occasionally show LaFleur talking to Rodgers, and it looks like LaFleur's trying to sell Rodgers on stuff, and Rodgers is looking away, and it looks like more like Rodgers is the one who's controlling the team than LaFleur.
Yeah,
and I just don't think that's right.
It's like the Sherman Favre years, where Favre would sit on the bench, and then you'd see Sherman come over and take a knee and be like, "Hey, Brett.
Yeah.
Brett.
Yeah.
Would it be okay with
What
you?
do you want to run, buddy? What do you?" And he'd be like,
exactly.
"Oh, whatever."
There was even a moment in the broadcast where, I think it was a decision to go for it or to punt, and they cut to LaFleur, and you could see he had made the call, and then you could see him asking "Is that okay with you?" Doesn't matter, dude. You're the head coach.
Yeah. Well, right, and I just, and not just the relationship with Rodgers, but I think it's the relationship with the whole team. I mean, they were talking about on the show I was listening to about the Amari Rodgers situation, where the coaches absolutely loved him, and Goody loved him, but then Rodgers wanted Cobb there, and that kind of took Amari Rodgers out of the mix. And I don't think he was able to really get to his potential or even try to, build up to a potential. And then they put him in receiver, punt receiver, kickoff receiver, and he just, obviously you guys saw me. He fumbled a lot. I just don't think he was comfortable in the whole situation. He went to Houston, and I think he performed pretty well there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, if that was something that. And I don't know. Defensively, they did not. They're undisciplined, and I think that's a reflection of LaFleur too.
All things we've been saying.
I definitely don't think Quay Walker
right.
pulls that shit on MCDC's team.
But here's what I said. I was so ticked off after that. When he did that. He should have been yanked off the field right then and there. And he stayed on the field until the officials basically disqualified him.
He was going to keep playing.
And, I can't imagine any coach, even you go back to McCarthy or even Sherman or any of the coaches that the Packers had previously, they would have yanked him off the field right there.
Yeah.
And he's staying out on the field like he's going to play the next play, and the officials basically thumbed him out. And to me, I'm sitting there screaming at the TV, get him off the field. He needs to be, taken off the field and talked to. And then they weren't going to do it until the officials did it.
Yeah.
So, that's a perfect example right there.
Yeah. Well, we've got a few different segments today. I think we'll throw a couple questions at you about the Packers and give your hot take quick answer on.
Okay.
First question is, Aaron Rodgers on the team next year or not on the team next year? What do you think?
what do I want one, or do I think?
What do you
it's gonna be
think, and what do you want?
Yeah, what do you think, and what do you want to have happen?
there? I think he's going to be there. I don't want him to be there. I'd like to see Jordan Love get a shot.
Yep.
Unless he's true to his word after the press conference and said that he could walk away from $58 million, I find that difficult to believe. But I guess we'll see. But I think he'll be there, and I think they're probably going to try to make him adjust his contract a bit because they're terrible with the cap number this next year.
They're $40 million that they have to trim before the first day of the league year. $40 million.
Right. And people to Tom Brady, like Brady did a few times in his career, and he took a pay cut to allow them to get under the cap or to sign a free agent. I'd be happy with that, but I think I'd like to see Jordan Love.
Yep, I agree. Packer question for Jay-Z?
Joe Barry. I want to get his
Thoughts
take
on Joe Barry?
Is he going to be here next year, and do you want him here next year?
I don't want him there. I almost think he saved his job in the last couple games.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if he did enough to. I mean, if they look at the whole season, he should be gone.
He should be gone. Well, look at the last two seasons.
That should have been our first piece of information. Joe Barry's been fired.
Yeah, I agree.
Question from Chris.
Given that I heard the statistic that Quay Walker is the first person to be ejected from 2 games in a season in 15 years, would you, if there were no repercussions, would you keep Quay Walker and try to get that under control, or do you think it's just kind of a lost cause?
I think I'd try to get it under control because he's a rookie.
He's young.
This goes back to the discipline wasn't there during the season. I think they need that, and that's a Joe Barry thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs to, if he gets a different D coordinator. Well, Rasul Douglas too. I mean, that was a stupid move. I mean, he just instead of he goes up and grabs the ball because they call a timeout. That he didn't get the foul for that. He got it because a guy pushed him and he pushed him back. So they're always going to get the second guy.
Oh yeah. As a former
but
official,
Quay Walker, I think I would try to make. I think Quay Walker showed enough toward the end of the year that I'd really try to make him, have him discipline him more, and I think he can be a good player. I really do.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now you're a former official, so we're hearing this from someone who's officially trained. Last question, and we'll let you go. Thoughts on the wave?
I hate it.
Now we know where we get it from.
I've always hated it. I will never like it. It's terrible.
Now you know what's wrong with me. But anyway, well, we will let you go. We want to get your hot takes on the Packers. Thank you for being a guest. And we'll give you a holler some other time, unless you want to bounce it. Actually, one more thing. We'll kick this off into Conspiracy Corner.
Sure.
Or what was it? Conspiracy, yeah or no?
Yep.
What was yours?
Bigfoot.
So, Dad, is Bigfoot real? Yeah or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
Fantastic.
We'll hang up on you, but we're gonna discuss that. So you'll see each of our takes on that here in a little bit.
All right.
All right.
Good.
Talk to you later.
Yep. Thanks. Bye.
So Jay-Z, pro Bigfoot. Yeah.
Put him in the same category as Jane Goodall.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who also believes in Bigfoot, and C. Biscuits, who also believes in Bigfoot.
Who?
Me.
Oh.
My thing here's the rules. So we got to go in a circle. Bigfoot, yeah or no?
No.
Bigfoot, yeah or no?
Yeah.
Bigfoot ever?
Yeah.
How recently? Because that's the cryptozoological stuff.
See, that's
you
the
go
tricky thing.
At some point, maybe, but not now. So when?
I don't know. I've never thought about that part of it.
I saw a documentary once. Documentary once.
Oh.
About a lady who lives in the woods, and Bigfoot came by. They
Canoodled.
and she became pregnant.
You told me. I think you told us about this.
I may have. Now, our society being... It's time for maturity, Zim. We're talking about a baby here, okay? Our society being what it is, obviously they were not ready for what I presume was a very hairy baby. So, Bigfoot came back, took the baby, and now they just come by now and again for visits.
Like on holidays and stuff?
Probably like Mother's Day and,
Mother's Day.
and things like that, I would think. Easter.
What is this documentary called? I want to watch it now.
The worst part of my life, I can't remember what it's called, but I swear it's the funniest thing. So you think that at some point there was a big giant monkey type man,
Yeah,
but no more.
but no more.
Why? Why no more?
These are really tough questions to answer right now. I
was talking about it with a buddy of mine once, and for fun, what?
You found it? Did you find it?
He found it. And for fun, I made the argument like, well, he's not real because we've never found like anything. And my friend made the point that like animals die of natural causes all the time. And given the number of them that do, we find almost nothing. Like nature just has its own kind of cleanup service. And if we're talking like super duper deep in the woods, like there's parts like the Pacific Northwest that like it might as well be the ocean. It's so like dense and
forest.
Right.
you know. And I just think like so many different like the Native Americans saw him
Cultures,
and you know
most native cultures, at least in North America, fully all of them, no matter where they're located, have some sort of Yeti, Bigfoot, or some sort of lore behind it. Which
I guess you could also, if we're being fair, you could make that an argument for like it's bullshit, and everyone makes up the same kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? Like everyone's got a boogeyman, and everyone's got a
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
But here, Zim, do you at all go because you're like the alien guy?
Yeah.
Do you go for? Have you heard he's an alien? He's like an interdimensional being that's here to keep tabs, and
Oh, I've heard that theory.
do you go for that?
I don't really go for that. But I think it's a lot more realistic that there could be some sort of bipedal hominid that's been undiscovered than, it's an interdimensional being. Like, I think science could probably explain it through just us studying new types of animals and, folklore is one thing, but like as Frank said, folklore is bullshit. But I feel like it would be much more explainable from a scientific perspective than it would be just interdimensional Sasquatch hairy dude.
Oh, for sure. Like I said, it wouldn't be that weird. The weird thing is that it's been so long and they haven't found him. But if they had found him without us ever talking about it and they were just like, hey, look at this thing we found, you wouldn't think it was that weird.
Did you guys ever see this? Do you remember Survivor Man did you guys ever watch Survivor Man?
No.
Which guy was that on there?
Les Stroud, the one that Michael Scott was.
Yeah.
Probably.
I've
a few
tinted my
episodes.
My pants.
A nice pants tent.
Tent. I will even watch him die. No, Michael! He's eating a mushroom. But it's a super interesting show. Probably the only quote reality show I've actually watched is him because he films it all himself. It's just really cool how it's set up. But where he lost me was he did like a 5 or 6 episode thing about him and his buddy documenting Sasquatch. So it's so weird and it's so out there. But the rest of his stuff, anyway. But he's convinced, and there's this little clip that he swears is a Sasquatch or whatever. But
Sure.
But I do definitely think that. I mean, we've studied about as much as we can possibly safely study. But to your point, we can't safely study a lot of stuff in the ocean. We can't safely study a lot of stuff in super, super dense forests where there's not roads or resources for people to go and be safe.
Right.
Because it's not just studying and looking for a Sasquatch at that point. You're also looking out for fucking wolves, and you're looking out for moose and elk that maybe have calves around that they get aggressive. Like, it's just not a situation that's
Yeah.
where
And there's
they're
just too much space.
Yeah.
Like, it's so dense and vast that, like,
Yeah.
Now, do you believe that there are multiple in the species, or there's just one Bigfoot roaming around? Or if there's multiple
Maybe
roaming
it's
around the world?
one species, but there are different types within. So, like, there's...
well, that would raise weird questions about how long they live.
Right.
If there's only one, he'd be like 1,000.
Right.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, so... What is the Yeti that's supposedly in the Arctic version? And then there's Sasquatch, which is like the North American, or I'm sorry, Sasquatch is sort of the Native American verbiage of it, but it's Bigfoot, like based on where they are, but it's all sort of the same type. Like there's this gigantic furry thing that's in the middle that grunts and somehow has special powers. So Sasquatch, yeah. No. Okay. What was the other one?
You
Moon landing.
wanted to talk about the moon landing.
So you guys can pick which way I should phrase the question, but first one is, did we land on the moon? Is one question. Or did we land on the moon when the public was made aware of landing on the moon?
I think the second one sounds more interesting.
Okay.
Sure.
So, conspiracy, yeah or no? Did we truly land on the moon in 1968 in front of millions of television viewers?
Yeah.
I'll say the same. Yeah.
I'm going to say no.
Discuss.
I think we've definitely been on the moon.
Okay.
I think that the recordings that are from the moon launch from the everybody who's on the crew, I believe all of that stuff.
You're
happened.
saying in an effort to win the space race, they faked it, but eventually did actually go up there.
I'm saying that we probably went up before it. I think it was recorded and then distributed at a time when it needed to be given to the public.
Why?
Because I think basically
I've never heard this conspiracy. This is
I
a new
haven't
one.
either.
I've never heard this.
So we had obviously like there. You've listened to the recordings? Like we've talked about like that, and these guys are trying to explain like some weird stuff that they're seeing and all this weird. Like Adam, I would encourage you like to listen to the audio of Buzz Aldrin talking to.
Don't they say like we're not alone up here?
We're not alone up here, and then they start describing something that seems to be surrounding whatever area they're in. None of that recording obviously made it out to the public until many, many years later. So my thought was that we had a gut instinct, or we knew in some way that there was already something on the moon, but we didn't know what it was. We went up there, we recorded most of it to document what we could. And then when we came through that process, these weird things had happened that were also documented, but they didn't want to release it to the public until they could clean it up, make it look like it's like this is our same audio, same video, but it was cut and pasted in a way to make it look like a huge achievement. We are now winning the space race, but before they could do that, they had to clean it up of all the other stuff that they may have saw or interacted with that would have scared the public. So yes, we have definitely been to the moon. I don't think it was when the general public was aware of it. I think we recorded that with
you
the
think
intention.
aliens is what was edited out?
Whatever anomalies that they were talking about, which is probably, who knows what it could have been. It could have been aliens, could have been some other entity or somebody else, some other country maybe. I don't know. But something was obviously up there enough for them to talk about it. But my thought is that we had to win the space race. Like that's a geopolitical thing that we just needed to do. We need to get up there first. I think that we had an inkling that there was probably something there that was pretty important for us to find, or that we needed to find before everybody else. I think that when you're trying to do this before a different country, you're probably playing some misdirection. It's the strategy of the geopolitical war piece of it and power piece of it, I think, may have been at play. But again, maybe they did go at the exact same time that the American public became aware of it, but I just tend to think that it is real what we saw. I just think it's probably edited. and I think it was probably done prior, but controlled and rolled out to the public at a very specific time on purpose.
The other interesting one I've heard before that I think is kind of tasty is that we went up to the moon and everything is as they said it was, but the footage sucked. Yeah. So they came back and faked a bunch.
Had to reshoot.
Yeah, but it's totally like they did all that stuff.
Or maybe that's it.
Right.
And
I just think that one's really funny.
Well, and then like if you look into Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah. A funny thing happened on the way to the moon.
Yeah. Yep. And how he had told his wife and a couple of family members that he had shot the moon landing in a studio in Hollywood, which was the same studio that he shot 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yes, and apparently throughout The Shining, there are like references, like he put in little things.
Yep.
Sassy.
Yeah. So anyway,
sassy.
it adds to the intrigue of the conversation and the
fun.
topic itself. But I would say, as a takeaway, check out the audio, the real audio of the astronauts who were there that has been released. It's public knowledge.
Yeah.
Them talk about things that are surrounding them and in their airspace, and they don't know what it is. Just interesting stuff. So that's two. Yeah or no's.
I think we're just doing a two today.
We're just gonna do the two.
I think we got to slow it down because we're gonna blow through all the good conspiracies.
Well, we can dig into some crazy ones, but those are a little,
Yeah.
These are different. So you had a grievance.
I have a lighthearted grievance,
Well,
but
hang on a
very
second.
real.
Let's get the old lady back in the mix here.
The lady, my lighthearted grievance,
Well, it looks like crap.
and then we'll do a very, very fun episode of Christopher's Crunchy Corner. All right.
It's back.
So I'm rewatching Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee because it's superb. It's such a fantastic show. It's so good. And I watched, there's an episode with Zach Galifianakis that becomes an episode of Between Two Ferns. It's amazing because Between Two Ferns is also like
Amazing.
just genius, just unspeakably brilliant. But in the Zach Galifianakis episode, they go to a donut shop. And it's so just lovely to be at the donut shop. And it got me thinking, we live so close to Canada. Why can't we get like a Tim Hortons? Why can't we normalize the sort of nice donut shop? You know what I'm saying? Like it looks like kind of a mom and pop diner, but it just has donuts and coffee. You know what I mean? I would stop hating meetings. If instead of, can we have a meeting? If it was like, you want to get a donut about it? I'd be like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Let's get a goddamn. And in Canada, a donut is like, it's just sewn right into the fabric of the culture. They're doing it all the time.
Or just at least give us all dressed chips.
Oh, God. They're so good. They're so good.
If any of our podcast watchers want to illegally acquire some and send them to us,
You could get them here for a very little bit a couple years ago.
Right, but they're not.
But now
here
you can't. And you know what? I'm also, this is like I try to be fairly positive, I guess, but I'm just going to say it because someone's thinking it, and I'm going to say it out loud. Dunkin' Donuts blows.
Hot take.
The coffee sucks. The donuts suck. I have a friend who went to Dunkin' Donuts, and they were out of donuts. So he went back a few days later, and they were out of donuts. So he emailed them to complain, and they sent him a gift card. And when he went in to use it,
Still out of donuts.
they were out of donuts. And I went through the drive-thru at a Dunkin' Donuts once to get a donut. And they were like, we're out of donuts. We have avocado toast, though. And I was like, motherfucker.
It's not called Dunkin' Avocado Toast.
It's not good. And the coffee's terrible. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it should be the easiest thing in the world. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe have the idea. If you're watching this and you're an enterprising person, take the idea. Open Appleton's first nice, like, mom and pop donut shop. Put some booths in there.
Yeah.
See, that's why you just stick to the bakeries, man.
You can't tell me that
You
a
can't
donut
sit
shop.
in there and have a cup of coffee and enjoy
True,
a donut.
right, but-
you and me can't meet at the bakery.
Well, you
We
can't.
could.
You
They
can't tell me.
do have tables outside in the summertime.
Oh, that's true. You can't tell me that a donut shop would be less popular than Pinot and Palace.
I'm saying a donut shop would.
No offense, but seriously.
Well, there's two of those businesses around here.
There's competing versions, but yes. And again, I would think that the overhead would be pretty low.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Like coffee's cheap as shit.
Yeah.
And donuts can't be that expensive. Saving a lot of money on that hole. That's just nothing that you're selling to people.
I saw Mickey Mantle and Dinky Donuts again.
He dunks them.
I was trying to think of a grievance that I had. I think I covered, some of this in general, but having gone to the last few Packer games, man, I just wish people would fucking pay attention. Like, I know we have a general problem. Just in society, we've got overstimulation. Like, it makes people not be able to focus as much, but it's like, fuck, you just paid $150, whatever.
That's what always surprises me.
Just
Like,
fucking watch the game, man. Like, engage.
they priced themselves out of a good crowd.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so expensive that either you get the kind of the bougie people that like, I don't even care about football, or you get the people that are like, I spent my $300, I'm getting fucking hammered, and I'm gonna draw titties on my chest, and I'm gonna go blasting bare chest the whole time, drinking my Riot Punch.
I've got two things that came out of
Oh, I have a. Go ahead.
Okay. So along the lines of paying attention. So Duder sits next to me at the game who I don't know. He's not wearing a single piece of Packer stuff, and he's super drunk. And the guy's not screaming when defense is on the field. He's not doing anything. And he's trying to like buddy up to me. And I'm just like, yeah, man, I'm just, I like being nice. I'm like, I'm just going to,
Trying to watch the game here, guy.
Watch the game. The only time that dude got excited at all was when in between plays or during a commercial break, they played a Red Hot Chili Pepper song. Oh. And I'm like, dude, you came all the way and you paid from Iowa and you paid all that money to not make a peep and then only be in your seat for maybe like a half of the first half and a half of the second because you were down getting beers constantly or whatever. And the only time you got excited was a fucking Red Hot Chili Pepper song played. Like, why even fucking show up to the game? Like, why even come to the game? Yeah. Secondly, this gentleman was also getting snarky once he realized I just wasn't really going to want to pay attention to him. Was at the halftime of the game, they had a Chevy truck giveaway. And so everybody out there, I think you draw like a letter, and then they randomly like throw a dice or something in the air. I couldn't really see. But whatever letter it lands on, that person wins this Chevy truck. It's like the only time they do it this year. Sure. So a whiter-haired elderly woman won this big pickup truck. So trying to be funny and lighthearted, I say, are we sure she's even able to drive? And dude next to me says, that's not really that funny. And meanwhile, everybody else is laughing.
Actually, my grandma's old, so I take that as personally offensive.
Like, why the fuck did you come here today, man? Like, it was just kind of funny, like, of all the things. And, like, are we sure she's able to drive? Did we qualify this before she entered the contest? And the guy, like, that was the thing that made him mad. Not watching the Packers underperform. Didn't make him mad at all. But my comment about an old lady in the middle of the 50-yard line who can't hear me. Right. When I'm making a comment,
she can't hear anything.
I know.
She's 1,000.
But that was a problem. She's 1,000 years old. She couldn't even hear that she won, actually. But I don't know. It was just kind of funny. I'm like, if you're going to be at the game, you can at least maybe engage in the game. Yeah. I don't know. It's just sort of a thing. But anyway, you were going to say something.
There is a woman who must be a season ticket holder, and I'm curious because you go to a fair number of games, but you've watched all the ones you didn't go to.
Yeah.
And you've watched every game this year. Do you guys know the lady I'm talking about that must have a seat right next to the microphone that picks up the crowd?
I heard her on Sunday. Someone's
There's
screaming.
this lady that just, the whole... for 3 hours at a clip every week.
Oh, she sits behind me.
But it's just this piercing, and it's like an indefinable. She's not upset about something. She's not excited about something. She's just going, listen how loud this noise is.
Yeah. So there's a lady who sat behind us for years, and every single time she would go defense! Oh. And I'm like, the only way that I cannot hear you is for me to scream louder. Right. So I'm like, but that's how they get you. Then you're nice and loud. But Yeah. Anyway,
That lady, if she, I don't know if she's watching this, just dial it back. Dial it back a little
dial
bit.
her back a little bit.
Or move the microphone, Fox or
Well,
whoever.
I don't think they can because I think that's the microphones from the announcers because the seats are right below and the windows are open.
Sure. That
So
could
I
be
don't
it.
think they should do anything about it.
It's every week.
It's about
terrible.
as bad as those Burger King commercials.
Oh, those are awful. So
There's
the
so
more
many
that I
more.
hear
Just
those
keep making
commercials, like they had to have been like heard Wesley Willis and decided, no, that's
Good enough. Yeah.
and thought like, oh, the guy's a legend, the hero of Napster or whatever. We should do a song that's very similar to what a Wesley Willis song. There's no other explanation you write a song like that.
No.
And it sounds they got a guy whose voice is whopper whopper whopper. It's like what was it? Rock and roll McDonald's. Like you can't tell me that's not where they came up with that idea. Right. But then it's like they're doing more than just the Whopper.
There's probably
there's at
4 or 5 now, at least.
There's one with a lady singing.
Yep.
We might be close to 10 of these fucking things. And it's just like, and it leads, like, this might be the grievance for next week, and I'll tease it. Stop just putting music in everything. Not everything needs a song. No. Not every
Sure doesn't.
goddamn commercial thing. And I think music is sacred. I view it as art. Stop writing songs about butter. And what are we doing? You could just be funny. I'm all for funny commercials. And in the spirit of like, you know what commercials I love? I love the insurance commercials with the mayhem guy.
Those are good.
Those are
Those are fucking hilarious. I get excited when there's a new one. I like quiet the room. I'm like, yeah. But we don't need a song about chicken fries. Fuck off. No.
Well, it's very jarring. I've seen a few ads on YouTube where there's no audio at all.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really jarring and weird.
It can be.
And yet memorable.
But yes, it is. I don't know what they're for, but it was very peaceful.
It's just funny, like when people properly, like, remember like the Sarah McLachlan, I Will Remember
With
You
the dogs.
commercials with the dogs, and the song is what's getting yours. Oh my God. Can you imagine 15 seconds of that and then Whopper, 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 Whopper. Fuck off.
Oh my God.
And the worst part is the actual, and they must know, it's catchy. So
We're talking about it.
We're talking about, but also like I will after like a Sunday of watching TV all day, I'll be like humming it in the kitchen, or I'll hear Tori humming it, and just.
I think that's just because I hate it so much.
Hate it.
So we could should we do Crunchy Corner?
Yeah.
Explain to the audience what we've got today while I get you some music here.
What we have today, this is a very exciting time to be alive. I saw this at the store, and it's Doritos Roulette. Maybe hot, maybe not. And then it's got a little that says, attention, some chips may be hot. And I'm excited. It's a flashy bag.
So it's the nacho cheese general flavor.
Yes.
But
And then
some
apparently
are
some of them are hot. And my question is, how hot?
Did they say like is it the Flamin' Hot seasoning or is it like just
It doesn't say.
Could kill you.
It's got potassium chloride in it.
Sounds good to me.
Let's go.
Potassium's good for us.
Disodium inosonate.
We're not going to cramp up. Potassium.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So we're doing it.
We're doing
Basically
it.
like eating a banana. It's got potassium.
It's exactly
in it.
like that.
Yeah, it's the same
This
thing.
is like eating a
Have you
banana.
seen
Spicy banana.
Have you seen Kirk Cameron's banana video?
No, but that guy has lost his damn
Kirk
mind.
Cameron from Growing Pains.
Sure.
He found Jesus. Fine. And then he made a whole video about how bananas are proof of Jesus because it's ergonomic and it goes right in your mouth and it's got its own case. And
This
It's really
fucking
wonderful.
tip here is ergonomic. Does that
Yeah.
fucking prove it?
So his sister also kind of whacked it too. Candace Cameron.
yeah.
Like recently, I saw something that she had come under fire because she's now been relegated to Hallmark Channel only.
Indeed.
There's
stars from the 90s.
also saw a woman out there that said scientists have proven the existence of God because they could do a test to prove that the splitting of the Red Sea actually happened. So then I asked, well, how?
We found the seam.
Well,
Here's a quick grievance, because I almost forgot this. So I'm walking into the Packer game, and there's a dude with a religious sign standing there, and he wants everyone to know.
Boo.
But it's like we're in the crosswalk for the street, and I see a cell phone that's sitting there. It's not mine, and I say, "Hey man, since you're standing here, can you hang on to this phone? I think somebody lost." He's like
how Jesus would do.
and he goes, "Not my problem.
Oh, from the Book of Timothy.
Not my problem."
I believe that was in Ecclesiastes.
Oh, probably.
So you saw a documentary.
No, this was in a comment thread. I like, well, they love to call it doom scrolling, but it's just fun to see what the fuck are these people saying.
So did she say what the proof was?
Well, here's where I'll get at.
We found a bunch of fish that were ripped right down the middle.
No, well, she said just the proof was that scientists said they could do an experiment to say this is how the Red Sea was split. And there was, I forget what explanation was given. It was a very scientific explanation. It didn't sound like they did an experiment, so I asked, well, can you provide some more information on what you're talking about? And then she came back and said, well, man can't do experiments to replicate God because they're not God.
Right.
Well, you just negated yourself. Then
Right.
like, oh my God.
And also,
you're so
science
dumb.
proving how something could be done is not the same as proving that it was done.
Correct.
Or could be repeated 100 times and
Yep.
gain accepted status from the scientific community.
But the scientists actually had proved that, as they say, it happened in the Red Sea, but the way that the Red Sea is laid out in its direction with wind, it could never happen there. Because the wind has to go a specific way. Like, something can actually happen where water can be split depending on how wind is coming in and stuff.
What about Jesus laser?
So that's
a
the
good
thing.
point.
Even if science was saying, "Oh, this could have happened once," they're not saying because God wanted it to.
Correct. Yep.
Right?
Much like the way a tornado is not really God slamming his dick into your trailer, it's just a natural phenomena.
Or a water spout isn't God sticking his dick in water.
Correct.
All right, here's the thing about these
It's
chips.
a water tornado.
They don't look like nacho cheese Doritos.
What do they look
Nor
like?
do they smell like nacho. They're much lighter.
Lighter in color?
Yes.
Oh.
So I think we each take one. That's the game, right?
Yeah.
We each take one and see if anyone gets a spiced.
Okay.
Are you playing?
Spiced is now a verb.
You gotta wait.
You gotta pick another one now. Eat that shit.
Not spicy. Here.
Normal one.
All right, full size.
Yeah.
No corners.
If there's anyone that's got a little bit more of a color.
I think they all look roughly because I'm with you, man. I want a hot one. That was right. All right.
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not very hot.
But not like.
No, that's not hot.
It's got a zing, but that's about it.
That's
I mean,
about
it's got a back end on it,
Yeah. It's like a jalapeno chip,
it. Yeah.
which is not
as far as the spice level goes.
I like that.
It's good.
Ooh, but
That is good.
it keeps going.
It does
though.
keep going.
That's pretty good.
It's a good chip.
Why wouldn't they? Are they making those in like other flavors? Like Cool Ranch, like Roulette, or
No. Though they are making a spicy Cool Ranch.
what?
Yeah, which I'm intrigued by.
Ooh, that could be real good.
Should that be next week?
Spicy Cool Ranch dipped in ranch?
Take like a whole fistful of them now. Here's the thing. I would like to thank the good people at Frito-Lay, parentheses Doritos, for making a spicy chip that's enjoyable.
Yeah, like hers does.
Indeed. But
Yeah,
just
those
like
last
hot
week
sauce
were
and stuff,
delicious.
like, make it spicy, but make me still want to eat it.
Hey, did you ever try the Tapatio Doritos when they were out?
No.
Oh,
That sounds nice, though.
but they were really good, and those tasted exactly like Tapatio, like exactly, which is one of my favorite hot sauces. But question from Fox: the group favorite cereals,
Oh,
because he's
yes.
in a huge cereal phase right now. He likes puffins, which are like peanut butter puffins. He likes
Ooh,
those.
hell yeah. Those are so good.
And then I think they're called koala puffs. Those are also peanut butter. Like they look like Kicks, but they're peanut butter. So he thought he'd ask, "What are your favorite cereals?" And you can name 2 to 3.
All right. Favorite cereal of all time, and I can't find it anywhere anymore, is Blueberry Morning cereal. It was like
That sounds like some grandpa shit.
it was like Honey Bunches of Oats, but it had little
love
blueberries
Honey
in
Bunches
it.
of Oats.
It was so goddamn
What
good.
was it?
Blueberry Morning.
I don't think I've ever heard of that. Is it still? It's not there.
I had never found it again. Honey Nut Clusters.
Yep.
And this will be some grandma shit, but Raisin Bran Crunch. Love it.
I can go. I'll go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I love Honey Bunches of Oats, but I'm going to go the fun cereal. Like, not the kind of cereal that I, as a 39-year-old man, would eat, but the kind of, like, if I was Fox, what I would be praying you would come home with. Any of the Pebbles, fruity or cocoa,
Ooh, yeah.
high quality stuff. I could eat. Do you hear that stuff? Because I know Fox is watching. Really, really good stuff. And they don't make it anymore. Can't get it anymore. The Rice Krispies Treats cereal
Oh yeah.
was the jam.
Didn't they used to have like an
I was just pouring milk right in the box.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
dude. Oh, so good.
So good.
So I was somewhat deprived, probably for the better, that my parents didn't really get sugary cereal. So they just, like, it was in our house, it was like Cheerios, it was Kicks,
Cornflakes.
Life.
it was Life cereal. We
Ooh,
would have
Cinnamon
Life
Life
cereal.
is damn good though.
So that brings me to my top choice, which is Cinnamon Life cereal. Not super sugary, but pretty damn good. And I'd say my second choice, like, if I could get a special sugary one, it was probably Lucky Charms, because I liked marshmallows a lot.
Lucky Charms.
I did not like Captain Crunch.
My problem is I love Captain Crunch, but it hurts me so bad. Yeah, it's like that's why I understand drug addicts. Like, it hurts, but I just can't stop. I just got to keep doing this, and it's causing me physical pain, and I'm afraid I'm going to lose my teeth. Yeah.
What about Waffle Crisp?
Nah.
I did have that.
It tasted good, but it smelled like piss. Like, seriously, that whole
Taste and smell
box
are
smelled like
closely
piss.
related, too.
I love a good cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. Frosted Mini Wheats is my number 2.
that's a good one.
See, even in your extravagances, there's an element of conservativeness. Because, frosted mini is not as like, you know what I'm saying?
Still had frosting in it.
That's true.
I don't think we
Now,
need frosting on our meals.
How did you enjoy
I mean,
your fruity or Cocoa Pebbles? Because I always liked a big soggy spoonful of Fruity Pebbles.
Oh, yeah. I
the way
let
to
all
do
my
it.
cereal get a little bit soggy.
I think in college, what was the one with the toucan? Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops.
Yep.
I remember liking
Tricks
that.
are
I had
good,
yeah, Tricks. I remember having like a phase where I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And then the milk would be fruit milk.
That's why Cocoa Pebbles rip, too, because then, like, yeah.
What about Berry Berry Kicks?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. When Kicks is like, I don't know, we can't compete. Let's fuck it. 9 out of 10 parents, fuck it. We're getting 2 out of 10 parents.
Right?
Let's see. Any other grievances, local?
I have a question about your Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
And you've eaten Lucky Charms as a kid.
Sure. Yeah.
Did you do the thing where you would eat all the oat pieces first so as to be left with this glorious bowl of everyone did that?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get scolded for it?
No.
No.
We used to get like, just eat it.
Oh, my dad said that with certain dinners for sure,
Yeah.
but never with that.
And here's a reverse grievance. When I was a kid, I would be furious if they dared come home with one of those hay bales of malto meal. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's not the same.
shredded wheat.
Yeah, but now But now
It's like 5 pieces in a box.
no, I'm saying
Only one fits in the bowl.
right. But I'm talking about those big like dog food bags.
Oh, yeah.
Knockoff tricks or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was so shitty. But now I realize like it's the same.
It's
It's
pretty
the
It's the
same,
exact
if
same, and
not
it costs
better
$1.50.
sometimes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you
I
guys?
forgot about those giant wheats.
Yeah, those
Oh, yeah.
things, shredded
Like
wheats. They're
one
fucking
hay bale in
huge.
the middle of your cereal.
It's like a Pop-Tart with milk.
my mom would
Right.
eat that. She's like, "Oh, I really like
a Pop
this
Tart without all the joy.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
Yeah, I love it. I'm scooping sugar directly into my sugar milk so I can eat it.
Right.
Did you guys have the Nesquik cereal? Oh, missing out. That if you liked the Cocoa Pebbles milk, this was 100 times better.
How old
Whatever
were you
happened to
guys
that?
when you realized that Pop Tarts suck?
Like a couple of years ago. Like, but I hadn't had them, and they're so bad. Like they're all bready, and like there's no filling in them anymore.
I think when they came out, it was like purple frosting with like a blue swirl. It was like fucking watermelon or some shit.
Yeah.
No thanks.
The only one that I think would probably still hold up today is the s'mores one,
Sure.
because it's just basically chocolate with frosting and marshmallow.
I haven't gotten one yet, or another one yet.
So, Sarah and I ate at a new Mexican restaurant called Tulum.
Are you saying a Mexican restaurant that is new or a New Mexican restaurant?
Mexican restaurant? Wait, what?
New Mexico is a place.
A brand new
Okay.
Mexican restaurant.
Okay.
It's in the old stone yard over by our house.
Okay.
Called Tulum. There's one in, I think, New London, but they just bought the building and we went there.
Saying a London that is new or
A brand new London, 20 miles from here.
sure.
When the settlers
you-
came and they thought, we really like London. Let's call this piece of Wisconsin marshland New
go.
London. And
What
let's
do
throw a shitty St. Patty's Day shitfest here.
What did you get?
So I got what was super delicious and I've never had it before is a grilled chicken green enchilada.
Ooh,
Because usually it's like shredded chicken.
Yeah.
But this was actually like grilled and it had onions and everything. You know, it's wrapped and it had a green chili sauce on it.
Way
It
to
was
do it.
super, super good.
Do you have a go-to? I'm at a Mexican restaurant I've never been to before. I'm definitely going to get there.
No, not really. Not really. Like I'll just look at the menu and like whatever seems like it's good because there's usually something that's pretty good. So like if we go to El Agave, I'll probably get like a burrito, like one of their specialty
Their
burritos.
chimichanga is real good.
Enchiladas at this other one. We went to what is it? Jarapeo
Yeah.
is pretty good.
Yeah.
Their quesadilla there is incredible.
I get the burrito Santa Fe. It's got grilled
pretty
corn
good
and
too.
stuff.
That's pretty good. Are you a Mexican food fan?
I like it. I can't do a whole bunch of it.
He likes it, but I don't like him very much.
yeah, I like it when I eat it at home by a toilet.
I just eat it right on the toilet. I'm a model of efficiency.
the whole planning event that needs to go into it.
The most recent Mexican restaurant I've been to is Antojitos, which it's always been fantastic every time.
Barbacoa
I've gone.
burrito.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly it. Yep.
So,
humongous and delicious.
And their salsas are so good. They're making them right now.
El Sabor is also really good. The place that we went to go eat, it's off of not Richmond, but American Drive. Like, what the heck is it? It used to be called Mikasa.
Oh, yeah.
It's now El Sabor.
Oh, Mikasa was good.
So Mikasa,
Fish
unfortunately, the owner
tacos.
passed away.
I know.
And the wife and the family kept it running and rebranded it as El Sabor.
Oh, cool.
They have a food truck that usually is at Mile of Music, and when it's there, they make their own salsas, and some of them are super hot. We haven't been to the restaurant yet, but we've had their food truck, and it's really, really good.
I used to get their fish tacos all the time. It's good.
Yeah, that place is good. We're very fortunate that we have like a bunch of really good options in that space.
We have a surprising amount of good Mexican food and good Thai
Thai,
food.
Asian food, absolutely.
It's crazy.
Well, and there's 2 really good Indian restaurants. There's
But I can't get a fucking donut shop.
Nah.
We got 8 Thai restaurants in
Wait, what
Appleton,
is-
Wisconsin.
No, isn't there a donut shop now downtown? I thought there was a donut shop.
There's like a bakery downtown that
Yeah,
has
the
seating.
Voyager's Bakehouse.
There's
Is that the one you're
there's a
talking about?
place. It's right by Ambassador. It used to be the candy shop. I was there a couple
Yeah.
of weeks ago, and they have. But it's not like I'm talking like.
It's like that one's like a sourdough bakery.
Yeah, it's mostly like
fancy
baked
bread
goods and
yeah.
that kind of thing. They
It's
got
really
good coffee
good.
though. Yeah,
Okay.
good coffee.
Maybe I'm mixing it up because there's an actual like donut vendor at the farmer's market, which I've had donuts there, which are very, very good. But have you guys had any, before we wrap up, have you guys had any good like restaurant experiences recently or anything that has been pretty good?
Not recently. I mean, I've gone to the same places, so.
Yeah.
But nothing new.
Then last question for the group. Now that Packer season is over and we get all this mental brain space back without having to worry about how shitty they're going to be, what do you plan on doing this winter?
Band practice.
Band practice.
I plan on venturing into my first acoustic guitar build.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes. Yes.
That's pretty sweet. That's a good deal. Launching a gummy and beverage company.
Oh, gummy beverage. That sounds nice. Like a gusher.
Right. Right. But with weed in it. So more on that. I'll get your feedback if you were able to try. But more info on that. But yeah, band practice.
You should tell the people that your gummies are totally legal.
Yep.
That
Gummies?
seems notable.
Yeah. So I will take
They'll
some
get
time.
you high as shit, though.
Well, if you eat too many of them, probably. But I'll share some more about that because what I'd like to do is I'll probably we could call Colin and he could talk about the Wisconsin legislation that is sort of going through the mix right now, which, by the way, is garbage.
So it's
but
legislation.
We can talk about Delta 9 and why it's legal and what it is.
Yeah.
So we'll do that once we're closer to launch.
Groovy.
If there's nothing else.
I'll write you guys a theme song. Gummy, gummy,
Gummy,
gummy,
gummy, gummy, gummy, gummy, gummy. Have it your way. All right.
The only other thing I was going to mention, sorry to end stuff on a sad note, but just calling out Shane Krueger, the owner of Appleton Imports, passed away. So just shout out to his family and friends.
Yes.
And hope
Shout
they're all
out to
doing okay.
Shane's family.
Yeah.
Total sweetheart.
He really
And
was.
thoughts and prayers to the people that have to go through that place, try to sort it out.
It's a gold mine in there.
Oh, my God. He was like a legend. How long was he there?
Oh,
50 years, maybe? Maybe not quite.
it
long
was
time.
probably, I know Marty would know, and he shared with us. I can't quite remember, but it's got to be at least 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like
Since
it's forever.
he might not have been in that exact building that long, but Appleton Imports has been around for
Yeah.
a long time.
Do they know what they're going to do with the business, or I suppose it's probably too early. Or
I don't know.
When I talked to him, Milo, when we were at the other building,
Oh, thanks.
when we were at the other building, the last time you guys had not here last year for Mile, but when we were at the
405 or the 507.
Whatever that was.
Yeah,
702.
he was there, and I talked to him for a little bit, and I thought that he said that and I'm probably wrong, but I thought he was maybe looking at retiring or was considering moving or something, or I can't remember, but I thought he had indicated maybe he was not going to do it as much anymore or something. But
Well, I know Dave has been more in touch with him, and Dave's known him for a really long time. But he's kind of gotten him back down there and gotten him back down in the shop and selling some things and stuff like that. So it kind of sounded like he was coming around and being open more.
oh, okay.
But as far as his long-term plans, I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
So
But
this
yeah.
was surprising passing?
Yes,
Oh,
from
okay.
what it sounds
Just because, I mean, he wasn't like a young man.
No, but
It's
young
mid-60s?
enough where it's still like, yeah, you're young to
Yeah.
to pass
Early
away.
60s.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think him and Marty are pretty close in age, and I think Marty's in his early mid 60s.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So just shout out
out
to
to the
him
family.
and for
Yeah.
what he did around here. So
For sure. He brought a lot of culture to College Avenue.
yes,
And just a sweetheart.
absolutely, yes, he was.
But with that, we'll see everybody next time, and we will talk about. We'll have more conspiracy, yeah or no. We'll have more chips, and we'll have more fun. Very well. Okay. Bye-bye.
3, 2, 1.